All right, a very good afternoon to all of you who have just joined us. Welcome to our webinar by Recruit Talents. That's Design Thinking in Soft Skills today. Right, we are actually about 10 minutes away from the start of our webinar. So for those of you who are early, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're having a good lunch, or maybe we're even accompanying you for lunch. So in the meantime, we'll be playing a short video clip for you to enjoy before we start sharply at 12:30. So enjoy your lunch and enjoy these videos ahead. Thank you.
Of Training Vision Institute. Well, we have always kind of be very clear about our focus, which is the leader in human and organization development. When the whole aspect of the human potential, that means the ability to bring people to the level of their maximization of their value, their potential, developing their capabilities, their competencies, this will in effect drive towards strong organizational development and of course the growth of the organization. The business environment has become more complex and there's rapid rate of change. So I think we have worked on this aspect and we have found it to be common in terms of alignment, understanding the past, generating a very clear understanding of what's happening in your current organization at the present. And it's from there that you springboard into an ability to have that foresight as how you navigate the organization forward. And this really rise and fall by the virtue of leadership. So when we are able to really use analytics to know where an organization stands, where is the current state of the team performance, where is the current state of the individual's potential, whether it is from a standpoint of recruitment, performance management, learning and development, or even succession planning, when we're able to have the right data, the right solutions, the right interventions can then come on board. So that therefore strengthens and becomes a force multiplier for the way that Vision One and Training Vision Institute can serve our clients out there.
Hi, my name is Jen Liu. I am the head of Human Capital Advisors for Training Vision Institute and Vision One HR Solutions. I am responsible for developing and implementing HR strategies to support the organization's overall business plan and strategic directions, especially in talent management, performance management, change management, training and development, compensations and benefit, and succession planning. I work with the company executive management team to create a sound plan of management successions that relates to the strategies and objective of the company. Vision One offers a suite of human capital solutions that trigger strategic thinking among business leaders, supported by rich people analytics and the formulations of actionable insights. We are proud that we can provide you one-stop HR solutions of talent acquisition strategy, performance management, learning and development, succession planning, leadership development, and job description design or redesign for combinations of job functions or create new job roles. Our mission is to incorporate the practice of HR consulting with the discipline of IO psychology to create a one-stop solution. We establish long-term and strategic relationships with our clients and help them to transform today's hurdles into tomorrow's successes. We seek to enable and empower people in organizations to achieve high results under the ever-changing business needs. The biggest priority for Vision One is to provide HR solutions and consulting services for emerging companies in Singapore and ASEAN market. Vision One will be a vibrant startup HR tech firm that provides ecosystem and emerging across the region. I foresee human capital is dealing with extreme challenges in developing talent, building the 21st century workforce, being an agile organizations, retaining the top talent, and providing strategic decision making. It is required for talent to be competent in applying new technical skills and core skills. Core skills are the critical skills that everyone needs to be fully equipped with new ways of thinking, working, and living in this 21st century era. We foresee those emerging industries will be facing the challenges of having sufficient in-house solutions. They need HR services, assessment tool, and a talent management system to support their rapid growth.
All right, a very good afternoon to everyone once again. It's 12:30 sharp, and welcome once again to our webinar, Design Thinking in Soft Skills. All right, today our guest speaker is none other than Ms. Charlene Teo, who has graciously joined us today. And so before we begin, we actually would like to just share a bit of, if you will, some house tips that we can have to actually enjoy the webinar ahead. So firstly, once again, welcome. And if for those of you who are having lunch, we hope you enjoy your lunch as you join us for the webinar. In the meantime, if you have already had your lunch, we hope that this also will be very fruitful and a very good session for you ahead. So today, what we'll be covering in our webinar, the house rules that we have. So how we can best enjoy this webinar today, we would like to remind everyone, if you can actually just change your name to the name as per your registration participation name, because this will help us to send the webinar recording to the right email at the end of the webinar. Okay, and for the webinar, all participants will be muted, but not to worry. Should you have questions or any questions or thoughts that you have, just feel free to post them in the chat box, and we will address them after the webinar. Charlene, we will direct them to Charlene and we'll address them. Also, for those of you who have any thoughts along the way, you can also PM us, personal message us, or feel free to share them with the group. Last but not least, we will have a recording of this session at the end. We'll be sending them to your email. So if you did not leave your email with us, also remember, we actually have a feedback survey form at the end. You can leave your email and contact details with us. We'll be sending them to you. Okay, so without further ado, let me just share the agenda that we have for today. Right, today's agenda is simple, but actually very profound. We have so much, right, I think, today to share by Charlene. Firstly, what design thinking is, basic ideas in design thinking, a 5-stage process, and finally, last but not least, how do we apply design thinking to soft skills? So very interestingly, this concept, we want to hear from Charlene today. Before we begin and bring Charlene on, we actually have a short engagement Mentimeter poll with all of us. Okay, so with every webinar, we like to make it as engaging as possible. So we'll be sharing the poll later on. So think about what your thoughts might be before coming in for today's webinar. Later on, we'll be flashing that poll, and you can share with us what your thoughts are. We'll be forming a word cloud, so Charlene will be in the know of what to cover today. Okay, so last but not least, today is brought to you by, of course, Recruit Talents ourselves. Let me introduce. My name is Evangeline, and we actually represent Recruit Talents, which is actually a subsidiary of Training Vision Institute. We actually provide HR business solutions to both our talents and our businesses. So today we have also in partnership with Vision One, as well as Training Vision Institute. Training Vision Institute is our parent company where we provide our courses and training. Later on, we'll be sharing more about them. We also have a psychometric assessment tool by Vision One. Later on, at the end of the webinar, when you fill out the survey form, we'll be able to share with you this assessment tool. And this tool will be very useful for you in your career, in understanding your personality better, and also how you actually interact with others in order to find the best job fit. And that will be very much in line with what Charlene will share with us today about soft skills and applying design thinking in these skills. Okay, so I think we can move on to our Mentimeter poll. Okay, so our question today is actually what you hope to take back from today's webinar. I'm sure we have a variety of audiences from all over the world, international audience, in fact. So we'll be flashing the Mentimeter poll in a short while. Just give our IT some time. The poll number and the code will also be in the chat box later on. Right, we have this here. So if you notice, for those of you who are new to this, log on to menti.com, and you will be brought to a page where you need to key in a code. And this is the code number on the screen. Okay, for those of you who are not familiar, not to worry, you can also just place them in the chat box. What do you hope to take back from today's webinar? So by doing this, we'll be able to understand, what you came here for, and Charlene later on will be able to actually adjust and actually address all these things in the webinar, very specially for our audience today. Right, we'll give some time for them to key in. Interesting. For a moment, I was looking at DT and wondering what DT was. I'm sure when Charlene looked at it, she knew immediately it was design thinking. So I think we have a few here. DT refresher. So I assume they already know what the design thinking is. So I think they want to refresh this concept of design thinking. Application of design thinking, I will presume in soft skills today. Broaden perspective. Interesting. Networking. I think that comes together with soft skills and how we use these soft skills in the aspect of networking. Right, we'll just leave this on for about another 15 more seconds. For the rest of us, maybe also we came as a blank sheet, right? A blank canvas. And it's good also, I think, right? Where we actually just are open to what we might be learning from today's webinar. Okay, so with that, we would like to close this Menti poll, and we have kept this in mind. So I'll be actually handing over soon. Yes, as soon as we can, maybe we can stay on this page. And at this time, can we just put our virtual hands together to welcome our speaker today, none other than Miss Charlene Teo. Charlene, please, over to you.
Right, thank you, Evangeline. Thank you all for coming today. Right, we're looking at design thinking, and I can see that your what you've written in Mentimeter to understand a little bit about application of design thinking, as well as the understanding of getting a refresher if you've already done a lot of design thinking in the past, but how do we then apply design thinking in this current day labor force itself, in the current day service that we provide to our clients itself, right? For me, I have been with Training Vision. It's about almost 10 years now, right? And I started off being a developer, curriculum developer, before I moved on to the training perspective, right? And a little bit about myself in the past, right? Years ago, I was with Singapore Airlines, and that's the key thing about with Singapore Airlines is about soft skills, relationship with people, bringing service into our work itself. So which is something that I want to share with you, combining service, combining soft skills with the current day and age of what we are required to at our workplace, which is constantly evolving, constantly changing, and that is having the mindset of a design thinker. So as I move on here, what exactly is design thinking, right? Wonder, right? in the old days, right, do we think of design thinking as only if I'm employed as a design thinker, right? My job title is design thinker, then I do design thinking, right? I want you to shift that mindset itself of design thinkers itself. It goes way beyond that, way beyond. It started off years ago. In fact, it's before the term design thinking even came about. Think of literature, think of the arts, think of music, science. All these are design thinkers. All these are people who have decided to shift from the norm and create something new to share with the people who want to listen to them or to see their work of art itself. So if we're able to introduce something new, shift away from status quo, that makes you a design thinker, isn't it? Right? Are we able to shift from that set thing that we have been brought up to, that set of rules? I'm not asking all of you to rebel against your bosses, okay? Right. But just to have an open mind and look at, okay, exactly what's design thinking. It's something that's not, say, oh, step 1, step 2, step 3. It's something that's non-linear. It can come in from all different aspects, right? It can come into the way we assume things, right? Assumptions, or the way that we define problems, right? Are problems really problems? Or do we see, can we change our mindset and shift from problems to opportunities? Can we create now new solutions instead of taking the standard solutions? Is there a new way of looking at things, looking at exploring this so-called problem area itself? If I have a new way, then can I exploit a little bit further from there? So if we move on further from here now, right, looking deeper into design thinking itself, right, there's no single definition of design thinkers. It's really how we relate to each other as we understand. We build an understanding of what are people's needs when they come to us. In the past 10 years itself, right, for me, apart from doing training itself, I'm also a certified counselor, and I work with a lot of companies in terms of workplace counseling, coaching for their stressors that they face, etc. And to see individuals, what do they want out of their life itself? So can we now look at mapping individuals with their work, individuals with their personal life, individuals with their family life, and map all that, because everything goes together concurrently. We can't take work and say, oh, I throw out family. We can't take family and say, I throw out work. Nor can we take work and family and say, okay, and then I throw out the personal part. The reality is we are here and we are building relationships with people. So when we look at design thinking, for me, I see it as a very, very human-centered approach. We are dealing with humans, and humans have changed and evolved in their needs and expectations over the years. So how do I then draw at this designer's toolkit then? In order for me to find a match, a fit, I want to look at integrating the needs of people, and at the same time recognizing, hey, technology is up there, okay? Technology has grown so much. So can I now look at the needs of people and match it with the possibilities of what technology has to offer? Because until we can find a match, a balance, this is a requirement for business success. Can I match technology with the human-centered approach? Because this is what I need to do. I can't have technology without the human touch. I can't have the human touch without technology. It's not reality. It's, can I face reality, and can I recognize and also cherish the old ways and look at the new ways as new opportunities? There must be a a balance in old ways and new ways. Can I look at this? Because this is the perspective that we want to do for today's session. So I'm going to look into today's agenda, right? Two key areas that I want to bring forth in today's session, this 1 hour session here, right? Two key areas: understanding the basic ideas of design thinking. And for the person to say a refresher, yes, this is just like a little refresher or a little introduction to design thinking. Then second part is, now how do I bring design thinking into soft skills, into my approach with people? Because I need to have a new frame of mind in order to cater my needs to the current clientele that I'm having. Who are the current clientele? Are they the same as they were 20, 30, 40 years ago? Obviously not, right? So in order for me to cater to their needs, I need to look deeper. What are my possibilities? Am I open myself? Am I open to new possibilities? So let's look at that basic ideas of design thinking. Yes, something new, something different is that design thinking. I'm breaking away from the norm. So I've got all these set SOPs that I used to do, I've been doing for the past 10 years. Is that going to bring me forth to the next 10 years? If I'm doing what I'm doing for the past 10 years, will that bring me to my new successes for the next 10 years? Even though, yes, for the past 10 years, it has been very, very successful. Can it bring me forth to the future? Obviously not, right? So where do I go then from here? If I say that, okay, I want to look forward, but I don't want to break away from what I used to do, because I recognize what I used to do, yes, they actually gave me a lot of goodness, a lot of success. So I'm not saying throw everything out, but can we look at it? Which ones can we keep? Which ones that we need to have a new look at it, a redesign of it, a redesign of the mindset, redesign of where it starts from. So let's look at design thinking now, right? I particularly chose this picture, right? You may be wondering, right? Okay, we're talking about workplace design thinking and it's all like very leadership, performance. And then suddenly, oh, how come there's a wedding picture here? How does a wedding picture come into this place here, right? I wonder if you can think, how does design thinking work at a wedding relationship? It's like building a relationship with someone. Imagine that you are getting close to someone and you are going to build a lifetime relationship. Are we going to have the lifetime SOP as well? Or do we need to change every 5 years or 10 years? I'm a certified counselor and I've worked with people and I've seen how people's desires, people's needs have changed over the years. If you are in a relationship, would you say that your needs and expectations have changed over the years, every 5 years, every 10 years? Or if you ask your grandpa and grandma, how did they survive and maintain their marriage for so long? Do they change and change their needs and expectations? Every 5 years, every 10 years, they need a new plan itself. Yeah, this is what workplace design thinking is like too. A relationship, very, very human-centered. Very human-centered, that we look at what's internally inside a person and how can I then please the next person in a human-centered relationship until I can stay focused and look at them. Hey, what are their needs? Have I spent time to listen to them, or am I doing what I think they need? Is it all on what I think, or have I spent time to listen to my customers, listen to my clients, or even listen to my internal customers? What do my staff need? Have I spent time to have a chat with them? Hi guys, what do you all need? What are their needs at this current day and age? Because then if I can spend just a few minutes to look at them, understand them as human beings, then I can arrive at a solution that is optimal, that has this greatest chance of success, rather than a solution that I thought was very good. What I think may not be what you need. Why did we do a poll earlier about what you hope to learn? So that I can have a rough idea what you need. You want a refresher? You want to broaden your perspective of understanding where design thinking comes from? How does design thinking fit into this platform of soft skills? We always thought that, hey, soft skills is standard, or I get to know each other, know one another, that's all. If I say hello to you, good morning to you, and is that all of soft skill? Or is that something deeper? If I can arrive at something a bit more in-depth, a bit more thought-provoking of what this soft skills is, then I can go to a new area of mine. So I like to bring you to a new perspective. How do we approach this design thinking? We start off with a beginner's mind, right? I know some of you have already been in probably the industry even much longer than me, right? If you combine everybody's work experience, your work experience is boundless, right? So I would like you to take a moment, pause, and can we start off this design thinking component with a beginner's mind, put the rest aside for a while. We might explore that a bit later, but we're looking at, in order to have that design thinking mindset, is to start off with an empty slate, a beginner's mind. In Japan, they call it shoshin, the beginner's mindset, that if I can start off with a beginner's mindset, then my mind is open to new perspective. Because a lot of times what happens is that our mind is very clouded with what we've learned before, and we hang on very closely to whatever that we've learned before. We hang on for safety, for security. I need to hold on. This is what I was taught. I was taught like this 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and my teacher was very good. Yes, I agree. Your teacher was very good, and you were taught that, and it worked in the past. Peter Drucker said that one of the things, the downfall is, the dangerous thing is when we use the past logic, yesterday's logic, to solve today's problems. That's one of the dangers there. So I'm inviting you here now. Can we clean the slate for a while and just explore? Exploring with a curiosity, like, hey, this is a new time. This is the first time I'm looking at it with an empty slate. All the past SOP put aside for a while and just look at it. And whatever that comes into your mind here, can we explore it like a new adventure? Because that's where we have new insights to whatever this beginner's mindset could be all about. So we look at a beginner's mind. What is a beginner's mind? Beginner's mind is having that intention. I first need to have that intention with myself that, hey, I'm ready to stay open, okay? All right, I'm staying open. I'm going to be curious because I've never seen this like that before. Can I explore it? Assume nothing, no assumptions at all. And if anything is ambiguous, it looks like it is a bit weird, it looks new, etc., take that as an opportunity. Opportunity for what? Opportunity for new insight. If I can have a new insight, it's like having a new set of eyes. It's like inviting somebody to come and take a look at this. Because when we're ready to invite someone else to take a look at this situation, we are ready to look at new perspectives. And that's one of the key things in design thinking, in the 5-stage process itself, right? Those of you who have learned design thinking, you will see, you remember, right? This is, okay, one of the theories in business management itself. Design thinking rules, there's a 5-stage process. You Google for it, you see all the 5 stages, something that you can easily look at on Google. Now, when we look at this now, starting first step, the very, very first step, it's about that empathy. Can I empathize with whatever that situation there is happening? We need to, number one, be able to recognize and say, okay, I empathize with it. There's something happening there that perhaps need a change. Can I define what was the need at that area in the first step, right? What is the need when I look at this situation? And then I look at how can I define it? Let's define where it is. And then let's look at it now. As we look closer, wow, that's where new opportunities come in, new ideas. Can I form some kind of an ideology here? If I'm ready to accept all these new ideas, then after a while, as I explore all the new ideas, I ideate, I go, okay, right, there's so many things that I can actually do from there. Then, okay, let's look, let's see, all right, there's all these new ideas and can come here, come there. Then am I ready to do a prototype of it? If I'm ready to do a prototype, I can put it for a test run. Because remember, we're having a beginner's mindset. We don't know whether the ideas are going to really work or not. We're again doing a test run. And with this test run, we can go through many rounds of defining it, redefining it, coming up with new ideas, putting up new prototypes, and going on and on and on. And if you look at this whole screen here, there's arrows pointing all over. Remember I said, design thinking is a non-linear thing. It's ongoing, it's going round and round. It's not step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, no. We have the step 1, we empathize. After that, it's going round and round. There's so many things happening at the same time, and we're exploring, defining, coming out of new ideas, testing ideas. Let's redefine it again, testing in our ideas, and learning from other people, learning from the people who are involved, the stakeholders. And so as we go through test after redesigning, that is that non-linear part. Am I ready if things are not going directly step 1, step 2, step 3? Am I ready to have that concurrent thing happening? Because that's part of what's required in design thinking, right? Like, as I test this and I realize, no, actually I got to change a little bit of this, a little bit of that, add in a little bit of this, add in a bit of that. That's that design thinking. So as I learn from each new test, I learn to enhance it. It's about minimal micro enhancements. I fine-tune it, polish it, fine-tune again, polish, fine-tune again, and polish. That makes that new idea more and more fitting to the new clientele. And remember, it's fitting to the current clientele. You're not going to take so long, 6 months to design this idea. I'm going to keep it for 10 years. Sorry, it's not going to work, okay? Right. It's about keeping it. I know that this is what is going to fit for this current clientele. It may work for the next 1 year, 2 years, but along the way, I have to keep redesigning, refitting if my clientele changes or my clientele's needs changes. I may have the same client, but their needs changes. Right? Do you think that your needs have changed as a customer? Do you think your needs have changed over the past 5 years? Right? From what the things that you used to need in 5 years ago. Take, for example, just like your phone, for example, right? Every one of us seems to be changing phone every other day, right? Your needs from your phone, the things that you want from your phone 5 years ago to what you want from your phone today, is it the same? It's not the same, right? We're expecting more and more. So the same case goes now. What are things that our clients could be expecting, right? So we bring design thinking back into our clientele, to the human touch, to relationship, to soft skills, right? If I bring design thinking to soft skills now, I'm looking at what are things that customers want from service professionals from the past to what it is now. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and to what it is now. Do customers want the same thing? Obviously not, right? What I used to, the service I used to provide for my passengers when I was at Singapore Airlines, that was like 40 years ago, right? The things that I provided them, are they the same? No. In this current day and age, people want different things. So if we look at what people want, they did a research in the World Economic Forum. The top 3 skills that employees need in order to thrive in the workplace: problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity. In whatever that they do, whether, remember, this problem solving, critical thinking, creativity is not just limited to how I do my project or how I do my work tasks, etc. But it is also in how I relate to my customers, how I relate to both my internal and external customers. We've gone from the age where that mindset of, customers are only those people from outside, they come into your shop and buy something. Yes, those are your external customers. But just as important are our internal customers, our colleagues. How do I relate to them? Do I have a different way of relating to them so that they can create together a better working environment? So how do we create a better working environment with each one? That work environment is led by each and every person inside there. If I'm ready to look at where I am, what I'm doing currently, and then I look at how I'm communicating with people, how I'm leading my team, how am I collaborating with each other, because until we can resolve these internal issues, we can't solve the external issues. So in a LinkedIn research in 2018, they did a research and they found out that 57% of business leaders said soft skills are more valuable than hard skills in job performance in relation to leadership, communication, and collaboration. You notice that these are very, very much linked into your internal customers, how I actually run the processes internally. If I'm able to resolve the processes internally, my staff, everyone will be feeling happier. And when they're happier, they would be able to provide a happier service to the external customers. But if my staff are all upset, angry, they don't know how to collaborate with each other, they cannot work with each other, they've got no idea how to lead the team, then sorry, everyone will be having a grouchy face, right? And everyone will be super stressed up. You'll find that all the wrinkle lines is going to appear. Why? Because the internal space is not conducive for growth. We're looking at internal space. So if I can resolve the internal space, then I can satisfy the external space. If I can't resolve the internal space, sorry, whatever type of hard skills that you've learned all the technical skills, it will not work well because people don't have a good environment to work in. What is the organizational culture inside your organization? Does it make people feel happy to go to work? One of the things which I asked my the clients or my students, etc., or the people I work with is 2 questions, right? Do you get to go to work when you say you're going to work, or do you say I got to go to work? I got to go to work, or I get to go to work? Which one do you think is more important? Which kind of mindset is more important to? I get to go to work, or I got to go to work? You can type in your answer into the chat here, right? I got to go to work, or I get to go to work? Which one do you think is a more effective mindset for your staff to have, to adopt? Get. Thank you, Priya, right? Yes, that get to go to work. I get to go to work is one of the that fundamentals, thanks Razali, right? That fundamentals of a soft skill mindset itself. The fundamental of soft skill mindset is within a design thinking, right? What kind of mindset do I want my staff to say, hey, I get to go to work, or oh dear, today is Monday, I got to go to work, oh, hey, wow, today is Monday, we get to go to work, right? Finally, we can get back to our office and we can work and we can meet each other and we don't wear the mask. And I'm one of the fortunate people who didn't get retrenched, so I get to go to work. And can you imagine that energy that they come in when they say, I get to go to work, Ray, compared to the energy that one comes in and say, I got to go to work. So we look at the fundamentals and what's the fundamental of skills there, right? Okay. That fundamental soft skills element of a design thinking project here is I want to look at things with a particular mindset. I have problems to solve. How can I approach these problems? I want to use a critical thinking approach. But what is a critical thinking? What exactly is critical thinking, right? Am I ready to even critique myself, critique my processes that I have been doing for the past 10 years? Am I ready to critique my processes to say that, guys, I know we've done this for the past 10 years. It worked very well. It brought us to be number one. In order to get us to be number one for the next 10 years, we need to change what we do for the past 10 years. That's that critical thinking approach. Am I ready for that amount of creativity where I am ready to critique myself and be ready to lead my teammates, lead my people such that I can create more leaders? Leadership is not about creating a lot of followers who will come and say, yes, 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 boss, yes, boss, yes, boss. That one you just have you can easily get a robot to do all the yes boss thing, right? Can I create people who are able to do critical thinking? Can I create people, lead people towards being collaborative, that they are willing to work with each other, they can communicate well with each other, at the same time, they are open to creative mindset. They are open to the opportunities of whatever that comes up. Then we look at this design thinking mindset then, okay? It's going to help us design the solutions to our challenges that could give us a better percentage of success. Yes, there are so many ways to get to that success route itself, that final success. But which one is the one that can increase my chances of reaching the end point? There are so many ways that could get to that end point. We found that out in terms of school days, for example. There's so many endpoints. Let's say that the endpoint is to get a degree, say from your education, the endpoint is to get the degree. You can either take the fast track, you go through the special express, the GEP or whatever, the gifted program, and then you reach the degree very fast. Is that the same route that everyone takes and they will get there? Or perhaps some may actually do better if they take a slower route, but the chances of them getting there would be greater, right? If I'm to take the O-level route or the ITE route, maybe the ITE route might be more suitable for this person and he reaches that success state compared to someone who went through the O-level, A-level, but burned out, was not able to reach that final stage. So there's many ways of getting there, and it's about which one would be more suitable for you. Which one would be more suitable for you in order to reach your stage of success? Years ago, when I was doing relief teaching, I was helping children in the learning support program, and we were helping people on the EM3 programs. And on the EM3 programs, I found out that was one of the areas that kickstarted me into a counseling journey itself, that I found out that there were so many students who were so intelligent, but they just needed a different way of teaching in order to elicit the best out of them. If we feed them that same standard SOP style, we're not eliciting the best out of them. And that was what I also found out as I went through different types of training programs with Training Vision Institute. As I helped different students coming in, I've got students coming in of all calibers, and how to help them to reach their stage where they finally got their degree. And yes, I had one student who started off with me, not with me directly, but with Training Vision. She started off in the English Basic program. English Basic. From English Basic, she went to Intermediate, and then she went on to Service Excellence, and then she went on to Advanced English, and she finally, her journey with TVI ended when she reached and received her degree in business management. It took about 9 to 10 years for her to reach that. And did she work hard? Yes, she worked very, very hard. But it's about how did she get there? That mindset of possibilities, right? Are we ready to say, okay, it is possible? Can I find the route to get there, right? If I'm ready for this possibility, then I know that design thinking is something that is ongoing, it's never done. It's an ongoing process of providing opportunities for myself. So can I do design thinking with that ongoing process? Having that acknowledgement, design thinking is never done. It is never complete. It is ongoing. It's evolving. It's evolving all the time. Like a little snowflake. Every snowflake is different. So am I also ready to give myself that opportunity? Because if I want to achieve that success for myself am I ready to open the door and tell myself that if I'm ready to open the door to new perspectives, new way of looking at things, and saying that, yeah, I can see myself thinking it in a new perspective, thinking of a new way, then yes, the opportunity arises. I got my master's degree in counseling is because the director of the college that I went to believed in me and said that, yeah, she gave me an opportunity. And so now for 30 years, I did not believe that I was capable of. For 30 years, my mind was fixed that, oh, I had a burnout when I had A levels and that's it. Forget about studying, go out to work and that's it. And I never thought that there is possibilities. Until someone opened the door for me and tell me, hey, you can do it if you're ready. And I'm opening the door and it's up to you to step in. So now we think of design thinking here in terms of how you build relationships with people. If you had challenges with building relationships with people, are you ready for a new mindset to things? Are you ready to start something different, something new? Because once you're ready, you know that we can get things started. You see, the way to get things started is, let's just start step one, right? Begin doing, begin that change. And begin that change for who is for yourself, right? Begin that change for yourself. So I like to find out from you, right? If we look at, if I'm ready for that change, you know, in all types of project management, etc., there's, okay, you have to go and start with a plan. So I'm going to invite you to make a very, very simple plan, right? Looking at that action plan itself, think for yourself, right? Today may be just a 45 minutes session to hopefully open your mind to a new perspective. And I want you to take note of, if you have a piece of paper beside you, write it down. If you don't have a piece of paper, open up your handphone and type out, because it's important for us to concretize it, you know. Type it out into a particular message, type it out into a Word document, or type it out into our chat group here. What is one thing I've learned today that I can do to redesign myself in the area of soft skills? And the second question is, what is stopping me from doing it? This is the simplest project management plan, right? Type it out in your Word document, and after that, transfer it into the chat group here, right? What is one thing I've learned today? That is the first thing that I can do for myself. We talk of the very first step that you can do to kickstart this redesign myself process in the area of soft skills, right? And what is stopping me from doing it? Can I relate to people differently? Can I talk to people differently? what is one way that I can do to redesign myself? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback, right? It's really when we start doing this to understand where we start from, the very first step, and to understand our possible obstacles. Because until such time where we can acknowledge our possible obstacles, we will not be moving forward. We will all the time be impaired by our own obstacles. And sometimes the obstacles itself is not the obstacle, it's not the external obstacles. The internal obstacles are stronger than our external. Right. Thank you. Those who are right. But those who have shared here, right? It's interesting to note, right? You are your own limitations, your own barriers. Thank you, Razali, right? Okay. Explore doing one thing in a week that you've never done. Yes, very good. Before you start the ball rolling, thank you. Thank you, Priya, right? About clearing your mind, rethink on a clean slate, right? Leaving the comfort zone. You challenge yourself to be better, yes. Are we ready to challenge ourselves? And also, right, from Dr. Lee himself, right, resolving our internal issues. And then start with the beginner's mindset. Remember, be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Start off with where you feel most comfortable, the beginner stage. A lot of times what happens is that we tend to start off in a very advanced stage, and which is way, way, way above our comfort zone. Start off with baby steps. When we do baby steps, chances of success is a lot greater. So continue to type in, if you're still writing your action plan, continue to type in your action plan. I'm going to move forward to the last message here, right? A message here for you after this action plan. What can you do after this action plan is to recognize, ladies and gentlemen, that the fact that you sign up for today's program here is a choice that you are making. And remember, you have a choice. You can choose to live your life by design, or you can choose to say, I'm like that. Is that my default mode? Make that choice for yourself today, right here, right now. Okay. Thank you. And continue with the action plans itself. Right. I'm going to pass on to the next segment here. Right. Okay. Right. So we have got a few questions, right? Right. Right. We're going to go to Q&A now. Yeah. Okay. Right. So, right. Let's see now. Right. We've got. Yes, I love this action plan from Yin Chi. Right. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Ask people directly what do they want rather than assuming what they want. And your judgmental lens. Yes, a lot of times we're so harsh on ourselves, right? Yeah. And I believe we have a question here. Let me just go up, right? There's a question, right? Yeah, okay, let's see, right? Yes, I'm going to go up to, right? Okay, right. Mama Raka is a question, right? Okay, what do I do if I love my job but I can't continue because of my manager's lack of interest in what I do at work as I work very hard? Yeah, I believe a lot of us do find that, right? Many times we notice this happening in the workplace itself, right? That we work so hard, you're working OT, you're slogging your head off, and you find that, hey, up there, the people up there are not very interested. They've not even noticed that you work OT, right? Okay. And you're wondering, right, now what do I do? Do I change job or do I continue? If I continue because you love the job is really, really good. Do I continue or not continue? Over here, this is an area that we want to process within ourselves, right? Processing within ourselves, do I continue? Do I stay on in a job or not stay on in a job? Is about looking at it in a different lens. Perhaps after this session itself, right? My suggestion is use a beginner's mindset. Wipe off whatever assumptions that you had previously and look at it with a different lens and see what else comes up. Some of the things that come up are the new things that come up. If you look at a different lens and what is it actually telling you? And remember my second question in your project plan, what is stopping you from doing it? If you can apply this 2-question area to whatever that you are processing there, because there's no one who will be able to tell you whether to stay on in the job or to leave. It's about you processing with a new lens, with a new frame of mind and see, are there new information that could come up? If you just sit with the options, all right, sit with the options, be mindful of what each option means, right? And then processing what are the things that's stopping you from doing it. And hopefully it'll give you a different perspective, right? I hope that answers your question, Muhammad Raka. Are there any other questions that come up from anyone else? Is there any other questions that came up? So far, only one question, is that correct? Yeah. Okay. Are there any more questions from anyone else? Right. Yes. So if you do have questions, do to post the questions here, right? Or if you want, yeah, can they? Yeah, you can take over from here. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right. Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much, Charlene. I really think that all of us have really actually learned so much, and it's so engaging. I can see so many responses that we have, even with the reflection that all of us are sharing. So I just bring it back to one slide. We can go back to the question where, Charlene has shared on so many points. Just want to know what has been useful for you today in our poll today. We have one question here. What is the most important takeaway point for you today? We're actually interested in knowing, how this has helped you. We have these 4 options here. If you remember, we shared them at the start of the webinar. So if a certain point has spoken to you, feel free to poll there so we can know how this has helped you. And can I just say, Charlene, yeah, that was a really so beneficial for me also. And I really really enjoyed reading their reflection. It really took me through that process, and then to see their answers and their reflection showed so much of how much they were really digesting all the thoughts and all the advices, and that really such wealth of knowledge that you had there. And I believe that has helped them even where they are now in their job, even as they just go back after lunch,
Yes,
immediately.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much for that really positiveness that you're approaching this topic on design thinking, because by looking at what you wrote in the chat itself of your own project plan, because at the end of the day, it's not about me or about whatever that is in the theory, but it's about your own project plan. What is your own project plan and what are you ready to do for yourself? And once you've made that decision, that is something that you can do for yourself, a choice that you make for yourself. Yeah.
Okay, I can see that I think this is useful for most of all of us. Every single aspect I think is interrelated and intertwined with applying design thinking in soft skills. So because we are actually in view of time, it's 1:29 now, and we are aware that everyone may have to go back to work after lunch. So we just want to share the next slide on the feedback survey form, because I believe you might have more questions, or you want to know how to keep in touch with us, or even Charlene herself. So Charlene herself, she's an adult educator with Training Vision Institute. So she does conduct soft skill classes as well as leadership courses in our institute. So what we have here is actually just a course synopsis. Not to worry, the details will be in the feedback survey form, which is on the next page as well. So if I can just pull up that page. Okay, the QR code is here. Can we also have the link in the chat box for those of you who are interested to leave your contact details with us. So only for today, we are actually extending this privilege that you can be entitled to a psychometric assessment with us. So the psychometric assessment will actually help you to understand your personality better, especially at the workplace, and whether or not the job you are at, is that a maximization of the potential and the job fit for your role. So only for today, do take your time, fill that in, and a while the link will be up in the chat box. Okay. And also, we will also be sending out the email. So this link will be actually only valid for today. So do feel free to fill that in, because this assessment out there is actually worth $50 out there in the market. I see a question from Charles, how to contact Charlene. Just give us a moment, Charles. We have that on the next slide.
Next slide, Lisa.
Yes, just give us a moment. I think we can pull up the next slide, as I will share the link. The link in the chat box is for the feedback survey form. As for right now, the page you're looking at, contact us. If you scan the QR code, you will have the connection to Charlene at her LinkedIn page. You can connect with her over there, send her a DM.
You can connect with me on LinkedIn, right? Look under Charlene Teo, adult educator for Training Vision, and you'll be able to pop up. I know if you go into LinkedIn, there's a lot of Charlene Teo's itself.
We also have the Vision 1 Assessment Tool assessment demo. So this assessment tool is the one that I was sharing about just now, the psychometric assessment. For those who are keen on a complimentary demonstration, you can also scan this QR code to access the page and leave us your details. Okay, we'll just leave this on for a while for everyone to just take your time to fill that in.
Everyone.
Thank you, Yingzi. Same to you. Have a great week ahead.
Right.
Right, at this time, I think it's 1:32. Charlene, do you have any just like some parting advice or words for our participants?
Well, the parting advice for our participants, not say advice, it's more of a sharing itself, right? A sharing that do something for yourself for today, right? Be ready to do something that focuses on you for a change. You've probably been doing a lot for a lot of other people. Time for you to take one step to do for yourself, right? Take care, everyone.
That is so true. And I want to thank everyone once again. We've come to the end of our webinar. For those of you who want to stay on to fill in the feedback form, feel free to. Those of you who have to return to work back after your lunch break, also feel free to leave. The webinar will be closing the session in about 1 to 2 minutes. In the meantime, feel free to reach out also in our chat box or DM us if you have any other questions or want to keep in touch with us. Thank you, everyone, and we hope to see you at our next webinar.